What is going on, everybody? White Tiger 93 here. Y'all guys call me the Tiger, and today we are back. Today we are playing some more Wizard101 and discussing some more Wizard101 content. Today I'm proud to have been joined by a wonderful group of developers from the KingsIsle team, and I'm really just excited to be talking about the upcoming Guilds update, the G word. It's finally a thing, and I know everybody else is excited, and we've tried to go through as much feedback and questions, and overall this should hopefully be an entertaining roundtable. So I'm White Tiger 93, a content creator. I've been playing the game for well over 12 years now, and so it's insane just to see how far it's come along, and finally guilds. So if you're new to the roundtables, they are a sit-down discussion with the developers. Gladrocker did a Beast Moon roundtable. There's been PvP roundtables. I did a PvE roundtable a little while back, and it's a huge honor to be joined by these guys again. So thank you all so much for joining, and let's go ahead and introduce everybody, starting with Artie.
Sure. Artie Rogers, I'm just the design director here.
And Gary.
Gary Smith. I'm a programmer designer. You can blame me for a lot of stuff over the years.
Very good.
And we're also joined by RatBeard.
You're gonna try to make me, spontaneously funny twice in a row. I just RatBeard. I'm the lead designer.
We are also joined by content creator turned dev IceWielder.
Oh, nice. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my name is IceWielder. I thought you were gonna say legendary again. The amazing, the amazing intro that I got earlier. No, it's okay. Yeah, my name is IceWielder. I am the community manager for Wizard101, and I'm just really happy to be here to talk about guilds.
And last but not least, the legendary Spark himself.
Yay, legendary again. Awesome. Yeah, I'm Spark in game. I go by Mathew outside of the game. I'm senior community manager at KingsIsle. Having a pleasure to work with Kyle on Wizard101 and getting more stuff out there for you guys like these roundtables. And I have been involved in MMORPGs and guilds, being a guild host, being a guild leader, being mainly a guild member for over 20 years now. And so I am ecstatic that Wizard101 is getting guilds, and we here are today to give you a little bit about, what does that mean for guilds. It's a general topic. I know that of all the games I've played that have guilds in it, guilds mean something a little bit different for each one. And so hopefully by the end of today, you'll see our excitement about what's unique and why guilds is a good fit for Wizard.
Well, a couple of years ago, Gary and I undertook the task of looking at social systems in general for Wizard. It was something we felt like Wizard's got a really like a unique community, and so, but we didn't have. There weren't a lot of social systems to support some of the little sub communities that would form in there. So we ended up plotting out a multi-year development plan to introduce different social systems into the game. And so, we started with, optimizing or working on like team up and grouping. And then, friendly flag came around, and then we worked on the adventure parties. And now the next step in that progression were guilds. And so, the summer update felt like the perfect place for it. So that's where we're at.
And really, just for them to be coming this summer, it's really interesting too, because this is something that affects the larger player base, because y'all mentioned before, you've tackled the first time user experience for newer players coming into the game. You've of course been adding world content for the max players that are continue questing, and I guys have talked about that balance of trying to cover everybody, and guilds is kind of like that big thing. It overall covers everybody, And people have different interests, whether it be questing or PvP. But overall, how do you see guilds as a whole being unique to Wizard101?
Well, we wanted to be mindful to the different qualities of Wizard's community that makes it unique from other MMOs, and so so an adventure party is kind of like a guild light, where a guild has more structure, overhead, and obligation to it, because everyone's relying on each other more materially than, say, an adventure party. And so, but what we wanted to do is give a place for the more experienced users and those kind of experienced sub-communities that kind of we were seeing form in Wizard, but didn't have a home, didn't have a place to kind of manifest, so to speak. And so guilds felt like the best place for that, for like-minded people to come together in a permanent structure and then work together for to overcome sort of, or complete sort of challenges that we'll put in front of them as a group. And so anyway, so we were looking at different things that MMOs do, but we were also mindful that it needed to be appropriate for what Wizard needed. No, it's fine. I feel like I'm not answering the questions as well as I'd want. But so, like, some of it is just going to be there's a certain amount, like Wizard has its own unique culture, and it's not like culture shock per se, but it is going to take some adjustments for the Wizard community to realize that we're giving them tools to coordinate themselves with other like-minded players. Like we added a social kiosk in Old Town so that players could find adventure parties that might be adventuring in the same world that they are, and then we'll look to add guilds into that same sort of thing, while the adventure party is focused on adventuring, as you might have realized with the name. The guild's going to have its own unique challenges that are going to be require more people and more coordination and things like that. So a guild, for those who have experienced them, can be an obligation. Like, I mean, it's good to be a part of a structure like that. But that's the main difference between what an adventure party is and what a guild is. An adventure party just helps you play through questing and adventuring and leveling up, whereas guilds will have its own set of challenges outside of the normal content.
And that's a pretty interesting topic too, to kind of discuss what is really the difference between an adventure party and a guild and what that could lead into, but that would be maybe something a little bit later on. But just first off, because this is going to be a new thing that affects everybody, how do you really see players being introduced to the concept or being made aware of guilds?
Well, so again, we wanted to be like, Wizard has a very sort of fluid, organic community for the most part, and so we didn't want to interfere with that sort of natural development. And so guilds are for max level players can make them, and then they can invite in anyone who's has achieved level 30 on their account at all. So what we didn't want to do is create a situation where everyone's creating a bunch of guilds and they're not active, and they're not, they just become sort of dead guilds and things.
Right,
and
they're not being utilized to their
not being utilized. So really what we're asking the players to do is, the most experienced players can create these guilds, and then they can assemble whomever they want to put into the guild however they please. The other thing that we're asking for them to do is not only sort of demonstrate experience in the game, but also demonstrate an active social network. And so we're asking for them to have 11 other people online, friends, who will join their guild in order for the guild to be created. And so that's different than most other MMOs, I'd say. And the reason why is because, again, we don't want to interfere with how the community kind of naturally develops and how it's developed over the years. I mean, it's a really unique and interesting community, and we've got a lot of uh, game systems that kind of encourage and facilitate this sort of happenstance sort of meetings between different people. So we didn't want to interfere with that. But what we wanted to do is, once you've kind of created your adventuring group, or you found your niche with your people, we wanted to give the community a tool to be able to make that permanent, um, make that association permanent, make it easier to coordinate with them, and then give you some challenges that you might not have seen in Wizard before, that may require more than 4 people, certainly. And so that's kind of why it's there. But we're also aware that we don't want to, again, we don't want to lose that's I guess fuzzy organic nature of what makes Wizards community unique. And so we will look at ways that non-guild members can join a guild in these challenges and help them if they want.
Do we want to say something about guilds don't cost crowns to create and free-to-play players can join?
Oh, right. Yeah, there's
I'll
no
doubt that.
other there's no other barrier to create or maintain a guild other than having a max level player, being a max level player,
And having 11 friends.
having 11 friends. And the number of people that we'll ask you to have online at the same time will be lower in test realm, just so that we can get people in to kind of play around with it.
Nice.
I saw a question about the max size of a guild, and right now it's 50.
Yeah, right now it's 50.
But again, yeah, in test room it will be lower for testing purposes.
Yeah.
And that's really cool too, because this is a permanent association, as you mentioned. Guilds it's really bringing together people from different areas of the game, whether it be some of their own interests or meeting new players, or really just to find more people to play together. But it's not made to be a barrier to where it's like, oh, I can't get in, this is going to be too complicated, it's something that I'm not going to be a part of, or I don't know how to be a part of. And so
Yeah.
overall, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
But overall, it seems like it's something that definitely they want players to be able to join, because it's just another way to engage with the community and continue doing more in the game.
Well, that's what I'm excited about, is that with guilds, some of the best games that have them do it in such a way like I've seen we're doing, where it's an inclusive environment for people that you are comfortable hanging around with, just like any group, temporary or not. And that's one of the cores of guilds, is that, just hanging out with people that, hey, fellow fire wizards or ice wizards. I had to mention ice wizards, Kyle, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, you're
I
welcome.
didn't think anything else.
And it doesn't really go beyond that. It's all about what you want it to be. In that sense, is it's another opportunity to show yourself in a unique way to others, to hang out with people in a little more controlled way, because that's one of the things that Wizard hasn't had in a permanent environment before, where yeah, you get temporary groups together and you get some friends together, but then it's not permanent, so you forget, like, yeah, you have your friends list, but who did I group with before? I loved being able to adventure with them. They were my similar level, and they visited my house all the time. Well, now I think I just teased that. I don't know if we were going to get into that. The idea of hanging out together, basically. And it's not, you're doing that anyway. This is just a way for us to provide a better tool for you to do that. And uh those those thoughts about how we present these guilds will be formed over time as well, because this is a big system, right? That's going to be, not everything for guilds is coming the summer updates. Going to be, there's going to be more. So based on what your feedback is and what we're talking about today, and what you get a sense of in the summer update in the test realm, will inform us on, what we will do long term.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I guess I'm just looking through the chat on stream, and
Yeah, we got a lot of good questions there. A lot of people asking about, like, well, what I think we covered, a little, what are the differences between guilds and from our game and other games, and some thoughts about, like, well, am I going to be isolated in the game now because I'm part of a guild and nobody's ever going to see me again? It's like, no. It's just a way to form a group.
It's like,
that's
once
all
you're
it
in,
is.
you're never getting out. No.
Yeah.
right. And it's
one thing I wanted to mention on that point, actually, this is something that might answer a few of the questions I'm seeing coming through already, is guilds, like any other system, will have its guidelines, will have its code of conduct, if you will. The overall wizard community code of conduct still stands. So, creating a guild, the theme you place around that guild, what it stands for you as a guild leader and you as a guild member and everyone in it, how it's presented to other guilds and to other people as you're just, adventuring through the world. Some of those systems will come online later, as far as, like, oh, I see somebody's guild, how obvious is it that somebody's in a guild? That stuff's being developed, but it will be, of course, within the guidelines, the family friendly, safe environment of the game. So uh just in advance on, what I'm going to create this one guild that's going to, be the most powerful guild in the game. Well, that's good, but, like, is it a positive aspect of being the most powerful guild in the game? I mean, this is not a competitive component of the game. We're really trying to build this as a way to, in a friendly way, get people together. That's really that's all it's about.
yeah. I mean, it's so the adventure party is more casual and is more about adventuring and meeting people who are adventuring through the game together, and who may have schedules that's synchronized and things like that. I mean, that's what that's intended for, and that's to meet people, and this is the natural sort of progression of that adventure party. And so, what the guild is for, and the reason why we would ask that we're asking for people to be able to coordinate people, is because that's the point of the guild, to an extent, is that the guild is presenting challenges to the player, to the new ones that require coordination of a lot of people. And so, that's the main difference. And so, if you haven't demonstrated either the experience in the game or the ability to assemble people together, then you're not really going to be able to have a full guild experience anyway. And so, because that's what the guild is for. The guild is for more experienced users and coordinating these larger scale sort of activities, or that require more people online. And as I mentioned, we are cognizant of the fact that not everybody's like that, and so we want to give players, non-guild related players, reasonable access into some of the guild related activities, so they can enjoy them as well without having to be a part of the guild, and then give the guild incentive to have these people join them in whatever they're doing. So we are mindful of that too. Guilds aren't for everybody. But one of the things that we noticed early when Gary and I were looking at this was that what we would see is that Wizards is interesting in terms of how players will naturally gather around some point of interest, like a game mode, or maybe they're adventuring or whatever. But there really wasn't good tools for players to sort of maintain that sort of association, that sort of group. And so they'd have to go outside the game to do that, which is challenging, especially in Wizards. So we began to develop tools to allow players to, when they find their group of people through playing the game and or hatching pets or playing Beast Moon or kind of whatever. Once you found your group, now you can kind of create permanent associations, and using the message boards, you can begin to synchronize your when you play with one another in a easy way, as opposed to having to figure out how to communicate with someone externally.
I think we
And
maybe
then,
teased something there, Artie. Yeah,
what's
did
that?
we talk about message boards yet? That would be awesome.
Oh
You
yeah, no,
mentioned it.
it's
Oh.
message boards are part of the adventure party, and then so guilds will have one, and it'll be a natural extension of that. It'll be, guilds are going to have their own activities and their own. I don't want to say events because we have events, but sort of like I said, challenges and things like that they'll want to coordinate with other guild members about, and so the message board makes that easy. But that's, like I said, that's what the guild's for. Some of the things that we wanted to retain with the guild is sort of go ahead, Ben.
I was just going to say, that there are a couple of us, I think, on the team who've had input to the guild as we go along, myself and Mercedes, who are not typically social people, right? We're sort of at the bottom of the rung for social, and so, but nevertheless, I'm always interested in guilds. And for me, what's cool to me is my ability to get in and make myself contribute to the guild without other people having to depend on me in a certain time frame, right? That's like the thing I'm the worst at, is having the obligation of feeling like somebody is waiting on me to do something at a specific time. That to me is the big improvement of guilds over adventure parties, right? Adventure parties is a concurrent play experience where we're all trying to do the same thing at the same time, whereas guilds allow me to do something where I am contributing and I am creating a sort of a social value for myself and for the, with respect to the guild, without necessarily having to be, on time concurrently doing the same thing that everybody else in the guild is necessarily doing. And so, I mean,
Right.
I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute, but that to me, that's I see a lot of, there's some folks in the chat that are concerned about this sort of thing because we're not all wired the same way. There's a lot of us introverts out here, right? So,
right.
We have a voice on the team, I guess is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And that's what I was going to go into a little bit, is that, while some of the goals for the guild do require some level of coordination, but that we did want to be mindful and sensitive to those people who like to solo and have irregular times when they're online. And so what we wanted to do is ask the guild to attempt to coordinate a more of a larger scale event periodically. But meanwhile, anyone can come in and kind of contribute. We wanted the players to retain individual agency over the direction their guild develops. That was another thing that I saw mentioned that we ended up currently not planning on, which is sort of a guild tier structure. Because what we wanted is, we did want guilds to have a degree of advancement, but we also wanted it to be more, I guess, non-linear, so that players have agency in sort of determining the way in which their guild develops, and in the way that RatBeard's talking about, where I can come in and be a part of the guild, and then I can commit my time and resources to a portion of the guild that interests me, and the guild doesn't govern my time, and doesn't I can coordinate with other people in the guild to also engage in what I find interesting, and maybe they'll have me engage in what they find interesting. But so we wanted it to be more free form, like Wizard kind of is. It gets to that point where you have a lot of different side systems and a lot of different things that you can do, and we wanted the guilds to reflect that.
And which I really like that too, because it's really a buildup of what y'all guys have added beforehand. We've had even smaller social stuff, like the pet hatching kiosk was to kind of help players really get into pet leveling a little bit more and help people get the pet stats that they want. And in that sense, it kind of brought more people to that point at the pet pavilion, that people were organizing a little more and seeing overall just how they could really progress in that system. And then we've seen with the adventure parties, more people kind of get together and mean the game. And now guilds is kind of that next level where people can kind of be more of a permanent platform, but still have that level of freedom to play as they want, but have their group as that guild be able to develop into their own direction.
Yeah, that was the idea.
And it's not meant to be an exclusive barrier either, just to like block out players. It's not supposed to be something too hard to get in. It is supposed to be a overall free-to-play concept, easy to get into, and just be another way to kind of get into more kind of like permanent groups, so to speak. Because like you said, you're a little obligated, but you're not required to necessarily be like, okay, you got to be this guy, you got to be all this responsibility. It really is just another level of organizing and being able to do more in the game.
Yeah, and we don't want it to feel like these players are just going off into their guild house and separating themselves from the community at large. So we're also mindful about that. We don't want people to spend all their time in these guild related instances. People so in developing the guilds, we're also sort of paying attention to that as well.
And not to mention free to play.
Yeah.
And so with this being, and I'm going to keep saying this, such a big concept, do you really have, or right now off the top of your head, I don't know how in-depth y'all guys want to go with this, but in terms of guild representation, how are these people, when they get together, how are they really going to kind of feel like that one main purpose that really holds that guild together? What kind of representation do you see in terms of that? Such as, is there going to be guild naming or badges of sorts?
I don't know, Gary, you want to go into that?
Okay. Well, we're gonna, at least initially, we're gonna go with the adventure party names. So that'll, we could, in the future, we can look at custom naming, but for now, we're using the adventure party names. And I don't think we've created any badges yet. Yeah, I don't think, but that's also something we can look at in the future.
Yeah, we had other ideas about allowing players to form a sense of identity with their guild, either with more customization options with the name. We've talked about possibly having some sort of guild a visual look stitch or something that all these things are in the future. This initial version of the guild is a foundational set of systems, and then we'll be talking to you guys like now or through the forums and other places to see where you guys kind of want it to go. And we have plans, but we don't want to just go off and develop it without. I mean, this is a partnership with the community. This is a tool for the community to be able to more easily meet like-minded people and play together and do interesting things in Wizard.
You mentioned forums, Artie. So when test realm begins, which is not for some time yet, everybody. So calm down on anybody thinking it's next week or something like that. We just want to put that out there. We'll have the forum test realm section open, as we always do every single test realm, and we'll have, I'm thinking, probably a section just for guilds, because it's going to be the thing. And we'll want your feedback there on all the stuff around it and everything you explore and experience. But until then, your feedback on what we're saying today is also important. There were some people in the chat earlier. It's like, well, are you listening to our feedback? And it's like, well, yes, explaining what we're doing first, of course, right? Because you all want to know, like, well, what they're releasing guilds. What does that mean? What's going on? I don't understand what that means. And we're trying to give you a really cool explanation of the general overview of what it means. And trying our best not to tease even more stuff because there's more stuff coming too. Um, uh, and then after the hour here, for sure, we'll absorb your feedback. If one of you starts a forum post in the current Wizard forums talking about guilds, or the central forums, or wherever, we'll be watching for that and seeing what you have to say so far.
And I do want to go ahead and mention, because this is, such a big community aspect, this is really such a player-focused update, that when y'all guys say you're addressing feedback, I mean, just, going and talking with y'all guys, we looked over a lot of feedback, a lot of questions that I've put together, and so it is very clear that y'all guys are going through as many player concerns, as much feedback as y'all guys can get your hands on. And I know that's very clear, and this is the first of many updates.
Yeah, there's a speaking of other updates, these regular major updates we have for the game, usually the spring, summer, and fall updates. Those are the three kind of pillars, if you will, of the year, and they typically don't have a singular topic. Like it's just guilds. And that really applies still to this summer update, even though guilds is going to be a big thing that we're excited to talk about. We got other exciting things in addition to that as well. I think we'll save those for, teasers later. Some things you'll, not be surprised on, and hopefully happy to see, and all of that. But one thing that I'm seeing in the chat here, this is kind of a internal question back to Artie and Ben and Gary. The update that's going out with the initial release of what we have for guilds is going to have some, like, general game, like, people are saying, is there going to be bug fixes for just whatever the bugs are that they're thinking of? And we're going to do some of that around adding guilds, right?
Yeah. I mean, we try to address bugs with each release. Not only with the things related to the release, but also things that are kind of in the backlog. So
Yeah, I actually have on that point already. So we plan for, how community, we always have the update notes that go out at the start of test realm to give you an idea of, well, this is it. Here it is. Help us to test these things and
right,
check them out. And at the bottom of those, and we have this already planned, we have a miscellaneous section for the very stuff that you're talking about. Little bug fixes here and there, and visual improvements and balance stuff perhaps, and whatever else.
right. Yeah. And so and we try to address bugs through periodic updates throughout the milestones. So.
And one of many updates as part of the system. And so, as we know, the first part is coming this summer, and there's been the mention of test realm, but not necessarily anytime soon. But the first thing that really caught everybody's attention with that announcement post was Guild's House is going to be a thing. So I guess this home, this main base, the HQ, you would say, of where the guild is actually going to be at. We kind of saw a little bit that this is going to be the central point. So just starting out, what is there to talk about guilds? And more specifically, the houses and how players are going to interact with them.
I will let Gary dive into it more because he is the house man, housing guru. But so the guild house is a place where the guild can gather and they can share decorative powers, and so you can decorate your guild house with other guild members, and because that's an important aspect of the game, is housing and decorations and furniture items and things like that. But I'll let Gary go into it a bit more with some of what his thoughts are on the guild house and shared housing.
Okay. Oh, I did want to say there is a cool new house that the guild gets when you create a guild, and the way it's set up in the future, we're to allow guilds to have more than one house. But for now, there's one new cool house. The guilds have a guild inventory, and any members of the guild can donate furniture items to the guild inventory, and then the people who can place items in the house can use those items to decorate it. And the bric-a-brac elixirs don't work in the guild house. Instead, the number of players in the guild controls what the placement space is. Or actually, we changed that. It's something else. But yeah, it's it's not. But you can't use bric-a-brac elixirs. There's something else that controls the number of items available, number of item slots available.
Right. And so the guild house is a separate house. It's a unique house, and the guild will work together to unlock different parts and different sort of functions of the guild house based on what they happen to be interested in. And so the guild can determine who can decorate a house and who can't, and so then they can coordinate and plan out some stuff. And like I said, these are kind of the initial. This is the initial release of it, and this is sort of like some of the system may seem a bit more restrictive than what you think we should go out with initially, but we wanted to be careful with what we put out there, and then we'll just expand it over time. I mean, we're planning to improve it each milestone, and so that's what makes it interesting. Gary mentioned it, and I can't believe I had kind of not thought about it, but yeah, each individual guild member will be will be able to get guild specific reagents and use those to develop or advance different parts of the guild house based on what they're interested in. So each guild member has agency over what area, the direction that their guild goes in, and the direction their guild develops in. So I think that's the aspect that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I am terrible at house decorating, but I hope that I am in a guild that has 2 or 3 really good house decorators in it, because I do like the space to look cool. So
Yeah, I saw somebody in chat was saying something about yassifying their house, and I am completely down for that. I'm not good at doing anything with houses, but I will do that.
I see some questions about deleting items, and so I guess I could mention the guild has a trash inventory, and the people who can decorate a house can also trash items, and then the items go into the trash inventory, and they stay there for a week, and anybody that can decorate a house can untrash items during that week. And then after the week, then they actually get removed.
And that's really cool because, like we've already said before, it's such a broad game, and you got PvP, pet leveling, questing, fishing, and all this stuff, but you can really get together for one specific thing, and at that same time, you can still do other stuff as well. And I mean, for example, the recent update of the cantrip spells, that was, of course, y'all guys mentioned before, that's the starting point of where cantrips are, magic outside of combat. But you can see just everybody, PvP players, questers, house decorators, they were coming to see what all the potential is with cantrips, what the entire system is. And I think that's one of the coolest things about the game, is that everybody kind of has that group where they can identify with, but at that same time, they can still do everything else. And to me, guild is like another level on top of that. And like with that guild housing as well, it's kind of like this is, like a home for you and your friends. And yes, you can all be a part of that. You can share the inventory, you can decorate it. This is kind of, this is a major update. And I mean, overall, I just think that's a really cool concept, the guild housing. And so from that point, what further potential could you see just beyond the guild house? Are you hoping to see players interact in different ways, both inside and outside the house? Or what are some of the top points that you're really hoping players can take away from guilds itself?
Well, it's kind of tough to dive into with any amount of detail. It'll be easier to talk about it once it hits test realm and people actually kind of get their hands on it and kind of see what it's about. But the guild's potential is, in my opinion, is a reflection of Wizards' diversity of game modes and different activities players like to engage in. And so, right now we're going to go out with the guild kind of exploring a smaller number of those things, and then over time we're planning to expand it out so that a guild can sort of specialize in an area versus one area versus another, like housing and of course house decorations and all those. That whole system is huge, and so like it was just a natural that guild, the initial run of guilds should definitely have an aspect of housing to it, and the players can invest their time and effort and resources in growing that part of the guild house. But then the guild house also will have different sections that are dedicated to different aspects of the game. So there's just a lot of things we can do with guilds. In the short term, we'll be looking to make it easier for like-minded people to find a guild. So we'll look to add that to the social kiosk that's in Old Town. Currently, you can, if you have an adventure party, you can go to the social kiosk and you can post it there so that anybody who wants to join your adventure party can, and we'll end up doing the same thing with guilds. So it won't make it easier to make one, but it'll make it easier to recruit, or might make it easier for you to find one that suits you.
I really like that. No, like, massive entry barrier. There's nothing that says, oh, I need to do this, or I have to do this, or I can't do this. It really is just about bringing players together and a very easy to access kind of feature for players to get into. And you've already mentioned that it is going to be 50 players max, shared guild house, and not to mention it is free to play.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out that the high bar is for creation. So being a max level, having 11 people online, that's for the creation of the guild, not for joining a guild. Because what we don't want is the worst, or some of the worst experiences beyond toxicity, which just tends to happen. But one of the things that's always sort of discouraging is when you join a guild in a MMO and then it just goes silent, and now all of a sudden you're in a dead guild because it was too easy for them to make, and then everybody just got together, and then everybody just quits, and now you've got nothing. You're the only person, and so we wanted to try to reduce the occurrence of that by asking the guild leaders to meet these high bars to create a guild. So I think that it'll be beneficial to the guild experience. If you get into a guild, the likelihood that it remains active is pretty high. So I think that's the important thing.
And as well, like, let's say for example, if for whatever reason that you may not be as active, or maybe you might not necessarily be interested in maybe just staying in the guild, is there necessarily a way to transfer that oversight of the guild to another player, or how does that work?
Yeah, Gary, is that in this version?
Yes, you can transfer ownership to another player. Yes, you can assign another player to be the leader.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to just quickly answer, and then if you guys want to follow up, I just wanted to answer what RatBeard mentioned. The way that it works is that in terms of membership, question was, can one wizard join more than one guild? Can more than one character per account join the same guild? A wizard can only be in one guild. So, but if you have multiple wizards on the same account, they can all be a part of the guild and only count one against the membership list. So if I have 7 wizards and I want them all in the same guild, then I'll only take up one roster spot. right, Gary? Is that right?
That's exactly correct.
Yeah. So it's not 50 wizards. It's 50, more or less 50 accounts.
That is something that I was wanting to bring up as well, because one of the biggest questions that I got was, well, for one, how many players can be in a guild? And then two, this is kind of more of an interesting question that I've been thinking a little bit about. Does school choice really matter in terms of going into a guild? Should, as a storm wizard or a fire wizard, should you feel necessarily different? And from what you said, obviously no. This is very for everybody to really focus their interest and yet still play at the same way they're playing now.
Oh, that's
yeah. It's really it's really, it really just depends on the guild, right? So like, if you noticed, I meant to mention this, so I mention it now. If you noticed in the arena, there's a guild section. There's a guild area because we plan on having, guild versus guild type competitions. And so for a guild whose focus is that, what school you are might matter. But for a guild who's, more into the housing side or something else, it may not matter. And so it really kind of depends on what your guild's focus is. And again, because your account only accounts as one member in the guild, if the guild needs you to roll up another wizard to be a specific school, then you can do that and not be worried about consuming another slot in your guild roster.
Yeah, see, that is so cool, and especially from where I'm sitting too, it's super cool to hear that guilds aren't just one specific avenue for one specific activity. It depends on what you and your guild actually likes to do. So it could be quite literally anything, which I think is super cool.
Should I go ahead and answer that question? Somebody asked what happens if your guild drops below 12 members. Unlike adventure parties, we're not auto deleting guilds, so guilds won't go away, and they can go down to one. They can go down to just the leader, and hopefully they can recruit more members. But we're not auto deleting them. What we are doing is, if guild members that haven't logged on in 30 days get a little icon on the roster next to their names, a couple Z's, to show that they're sleeping.
They're asleep. Somebody wake them up.
Yeah.
I love it. And so, really overall, this is going to be a major update. And of course, it's spread out in multiple updates, and this is just the groundwork. And then you've kind of indirectly teased that there is going to be a little bit of competition there in the arena that you briefly mentioned. So there's definitely a lot of potential further down the line. But if there was one thing that you're really hoping to see come out of the guilds potential-wise, what is something that you're really hoping to see in this update or a future update?
It's something that we can't talk about. No, I'm kidding.
And I was about to say that's going to be the response.
I was going to say
Yeah.
the same thing.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that we have on the roadmap, right? And to me, really, just from a high level, I'm interested to see how many people can we ask the wizard community to coordinate to do things. It gets difficult to do things with a lot of people. And so I'm just curious about not only what can we ask players to do with a certain number of people, but also just the variety of different things we may ask them to do. But like I said, Wizard has a lot of different interesting side systems, and a lot of people are passionate about their favorite one. And so how can we take each of these side systems and look at it through the lens of a sort of a larger group activity, and how can that fit into guilds? And so that's kind of how I look at the guilds, and the guild activities are just a reflection of our game, so it's quite interesting.
I think overall, I
was going to comment on the RatBeard's mentioning a question about categorization. Right now, adventure parties have categorization in the social kiosk, where when you list an adventure party in the social kiosk, you can kind of say what the nominal purpose of the adventure party is. We're not going to have that for guilds initially, but we're hoping to eventually add that for guilds too, so that when you're thinking of joining a guild, you'll have some idea about what the nominal purpose of the guild is.
Right, and it is about, I mean, and so, and Gary mentioned it again. I just want to emphasize it is, it's these social structures are really to serve the community, to make their play experience easier, and make it easier for them to coordinate with their friends, and then give them some maybe content or different challenges that they haven't seen before. And so, I encourage everybody to go to the social kiosk, make an adventure party, and see how they work, and then let us know what works well and what doesn't. And same thing with the guilds. Get onto the test realm, jump in, make a guild. We'll have a variety of different uh, activities going on there, and just let us know what you guys think and what would help. What would help them be better. And we're listening, and communicate through Spark or coming to these roundtables or KI lives, and just sort of let us know what you think, and then we're always looking to make improvements on it all.
I was called out.
So
I actually, our forum has I'll bookmark certain topics. So if somebody starts a thread about guilds, I'll something big like that that's coming up, I'll bookmark and follow it. Central is a great forum as well. On if somebody ats you, the little at symbol, I'll see that in my it's at the top, the notifications, and I'll read those on a regular basis. Anybody who's a Wizard101 Central, regular, I'm not in there at all hours of the day. So if I miss your message, my apologies in advance. If you're trying to at me for something, I will at the very least see it eventually. I may not be able to respond. You know the drill. But do at me if there's a conversation that I don't seem to be participating in coming up on this summer update, because I'll get your feedback, and as I always do, and now with Kyle as well.
Howdy.
Yo, I tried to spin a fun little Kyle I was thinking some other secondary name in there or something, but then my mind went blank. I'm not good at impromptu stuff.
Legendary IceWielder.
Yeah,
There it is.
legendary. There it is. Thank you. So he's, we're checking out the central forums on a regular basis as well. So us together will surely see the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And something I do want to mention again is, so I think y'all guys have mentioned that there was, or y'all guys at least have the concept of having multiple guild houses. And so, starting out with this test realm, could we expect to see one standard guild house model, or potentially different variants of guild houses?
This first one is just one. There's just one guild house, but it's really cool. It's on the order of a double wide card house. Yeah, it's at least as big as a double wide card house.
I'm still pretty excited about that shared inventory thing. I know that's something a lot of people have been wanting for a while.
So I have a question. I'm in player mode here.
Scary.
Yeah, get ready. So when I enter the guild house, what is a sign that it's a guild house and not a regular house?
it's like the guild house.
Well, I enter it, right? And I go, oh, I'm in the guild house, or I'm in somebody's guild house.
Like
So-
houses, but with a guild.
So you go to it differently. You don't press the home button. You press the shift home button. No. Yeah. Either there's a hotkey, shift home, or else you go to the guild tab in the social UI and go to guild house. So you have to actively go to it. So it's a little different than how you go to your regular houses.
But you won't be staying there all the time, right? You'll just be going there, doing a few things, like daily things, and then that's about it.
No, I'm going to put a couch down and I'll stay for a while.
I was
Hey,
gonna say,
nice
I'll
to
make
see
a
you.
little
See you again tomorrow.
campfire or something.
I mean, we expect people to hang out in their guild house, but you know,
Yeah.
we do want to
It'll be like real
encourage
life.
them
I
to-
never leave my house right now.
Yeah, I mean, we want to
Oh, yeah.
encourage them to go out into the public spaces, though. as
Say the
much
spiral.
as much as possible.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking of something like when you enter, the grass is greener somehow, or whatever.
Yeah. But no, forget about Malistaire and Morgant. That's for another day. But overall, a lot of feedback, guys. If you have any questions, make sure to put that in chat. And like I said, of course, you know, the devs, they're going to be a little dodgy for good reason. And so it's pretty interesting just to see if they can slip anything while we're talking. But specifically, I'm certain that they're hiding stuff for future updates.
Yeah, like I said, you know, we're constantly reevaluating our stack rank in terms of how we're developing this stuff based on community feedback. I mean, we have an order in which we were going to continue to polish and develop and expand this system and the other social systems, but you know, we're mindful of what the community is saying about how they work or don't work, or what they need, or different things like that. I mean, it's what led to the social kiosk being created in the first place. Was just, you know, there was players wanted to have the ability to find other adventure parties that are either at the same place that they are or whatever, and the guilds are going to be the same way. So like I said, keep the feedback coming, get on to Test Realm if you're able, and play around with the guild system and let us know what you think. And because, you know, we're planning for the next milestone as we're wrapping this one up, so yeah, we'll take your feedback into consideration with all that stuff.
And with some of the 4 test realm reductions in the requirements to create a guild so that we can get you guys in to check out those initial systems. I'm planning on a couple of different events during test realm as well. Again, test realm is not around the corner. I have to disclaimer. And we might be able to tease something more about the summer update next week for KI Live. I'm winking here, wink, wink. Everybody, pay attention to KI Live next week too. And I got so excited about teasing more, I forgot what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Okay, so we'll have much more to engage with you during test realm. That's kind of my point. So look for announcements throughout test realm when it does eventually start on, hey everybody, let's get together at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock's probably bad time. 2 o'clock somewhere tomorrow and create a guild, you know, that kind of thing. And if you guys have your own ideas on like, hey, let's have a little fun on test realm and check this stuff out with the developers, let me know what you're interested in, and I'll see if I can get some developers on test realm too.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, the system is really big. I mean, you know, we're just scratching the surface here. Really wanted to discuss more, you know, what we're thinking about with guilds, how our version of guild system may be different than other MMOs and why, and then just to you know, kind of emphasize we're approaching this as a partnership with the community for what you all think would be make it better for what we see guilds doing for the game. So
Yeah, absolutely. I actually put it in chat. I see a lot of questions that we obviously aren't covering everything. On social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram even. I even put a link to the forum post for the guild's announcement. Ask your questions there as well, and we'll try to answer everything we can.
And that is important too, because, you know, as a player, you know, obviously y'all guys are getting, you know, comments, feedback, bug reports, you know, anything and everything from your social media platforms, and just gathering everybody's questions for this roundtable. It's really interesting knowing, because I mean, really, y'all guys are keeping up with the amount of feedback and all the questions people have been asking. Y'all guys are aware of a lot of stuff as well. So even if we didn't talk about it in this roundtable, trust me, chat, they know a lot more than they let on.
Well, that's what I was mentioning that earlier. We see a lot of what the community is saying about our systems, and what bugs they're reporting, and what they're happy about, and what they want to see more of, and what they're maybe a little sad about, or whatever the range of emotions of the day it is. And we can't even with Kyle now part of the Wizard101 CM team. Thank you, Kyle, for helping on this. We still can't respond to everybody. I mean, Kyle, you've got your Twitter account where you're responding to people directly there. You use the Wizard101 account to respond to people there. Don't forget everybody at Wizard101 Dev's Twitter account as well. I'm on my promotional spree here at the moment, as you can tell, and all of the other areas that we're just kind of hanging out in the public sphere. And we'll especially Kyle's, you're on the ground level of like getting in the forums. Anybody who's in the official forums have seen Kyle posting there and responding to your questions, and we'll continue to do more of that to show you as much as we can that we are in those areas too.
We got our hands full, but we're doing it.
Oh, I realized. Wait, Gary, did we answer that question about gardening and castle magic in
Oh no, we
in
didn't.
voice?
No, we
So,
didn't.
yeah, no gardening and no castle magic for this release. I mean, it's again, this is a foundational first version, and then we will be reacting to not only what we have set out as our priorities, but also responding to priorities that emerge from the community. So,
Yeah, we'll try to get some other things in the fall update, and so maybe Castle Magic might be one of the first things we try to get working in the guild house.
yeah, gardening would be a longer term discussion for sure. It's a lot more
I'll
complicated.
just jump in here.
What's that?
I'll just jump in here. Our players may not know, but Gary is the programmer responsible for Castle Magic and responsible for gardening, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So I think you can be comfortably assured that if Gary can share the love of the stuff he's worked on before into guilds, that he will try to do that. So. It's just a matter of the timeline for it, right? As already mentioned, this is a very, very broad and deep initiative for us. So, right now we're just sort of laying the foundations and a lot of this stuff. And the nice thing about that, as already mentioned at the top of the show, I know that some people come into chat a little bit late, is that we can kind of let the community help steer us in the right direction based on how they choose to interact with guilds and the stuff that's most important to them right out of the gate. So, these are good questions. I think we've anticipated most of the stuff that players have asked about. So if we didn't answer it specifically today, it does not mean that we haven't thought about it. It just means that we may not have enough yet to tell you what we have planned.
And the other thing I mentioned at the start of the show was this is a conversation that at least Gary and I and others on the team have been having for the last couple of years. And so, a lot of the features and things come out of our experiences as we've rolled out different sort of social systems targeting different players of different experience levels and things like that. So, we've been watching the community and how they interact with the things we've done before, and that's informed a lot of the things that we're doing now. And so, just like that, we'll be in tune with the community and responding to what you all want. And that's why I thought that's why we thought it was important to talk about what we saw the role of guilds being for Wizard. So.
Also, I don't know why I haven't seen it in chat, and I kind of feel bad. I'm just throwing a question at you guys. But as a player, I want to know, will we be seeing guilds in like castle tours? Is that something that we'll be seeing like along with the castles?
Nope, not for the summer, and probably not for a while.
All right.
You
It's
can
good to know.
right now, yeah, castle tours. You can only list your houses, and the guild house isn't your house; it's the guild's house.
Right. Gotcha.
I mean, yeah,
I like it.
I mean, it's discussed, but we're again,
Okay.
we're starting maybe more restrictive in certain areas than folks would like, and it's because we're prioritizing things, and then we'll slowly introduce things as we kind of go forward.
I love it. I'm very excited for this feature.
I'm personally excited because I'm not like the most sociable person, you know, but there are definitely a lot of different ways to, like I said, play the game before, and I think really guilds overall is going to kind of help people, whether you're a very talkative person, whether you're like, you know, hey, everybody, let's go do this and that, or, you know, if you're somebody like, hey, can you help me with this boss? Can you help me with this, you know, this dungeon? I think really overall guilds as a whole is really going to be such a monumental system to the game, and I think I could easily argue that just from what we've said today, and not even, you know, considering what we don't know for future updates, that this is probably going to be one of the biggest updates y'all have ever done.
That's really cool to hear.
It's interesting. It's an interesting system. We'll see how you guys interact with it, and then, like I said, each milestone will be looking to make improvements and expansions on the guilds and other social systems and stuff.
And actually, as a player, I mean, you know, as most of us, it's super cool to see this feature, like finally in game. It's a really big thing to tackle, and I'm super excited to see it.
Yeah, and I understand why there was some I guess trepidation in terms of adding guilds in the past, and so that's why, you know, we're trying to be careful with what we do because, yeah, as I said, Wizard has a unique community, and a lot of it has to do with some of the game mechanics. I mean, we even have a documentary on the Wizards community, and so we didn't want to do anything that might jeopardize that, and so that's why we're being careful with it.
Overall, I am pretty excited for the guilds update. So like you guys have already mentioned, it's going to be free to play, up to 50 players, and then per, I guess you said, account per guild, so you can get on different wizards and contribute to that experience. Because I have been asked, would school choice affect how you're going to interact with guilds? And from that standpoint, no, which is kind of interesting. If you have more than one wizard, this is like another way of bridging the gap between those. And so, we got 50 wizards in a guild. You can have different characters that you have that can be interacting with them. You can decorate the guild house altogether through a donated share inventory. You guys have teased there's going to be different activities, and that there is going to be a level of competitiveness at some point in the arena. And this is all before we've seen any test realm notes. This is all before we've seen any further updates, and lots more feedback is sure to be heading y'all guys' way.
Yeah, the guild, the things we have planned with guilds could occupy at least a couple of years worth of development. And so we have our priorities set now. And so what we wanted to do again is get it out in front of people, get sort of the core mechanics out there, communicate with you guys as to what do we see of the guild, the role of a guild and wizard, and then you all can give us feedback relative to that. You know, how can we be better at doing what we want to do with guilds and things, and then that may change our priority as we move forward. But guilds are something that, yeah, I imagine that we'll be developing on for a long time.
Overall, I really like what I heard today, guys. If y'all have any more questions in the chat, make sure to get them out now, because we will be wrapping up the dev portion of the stream soon. But overall, it was really fun hanging out with y'all guys.
So yeah, it's always a good time. Always a good time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, community, for all the questions. It's been really great. I think I heard Gary in there.
Oh, I was just saying thanks.
Yeah. Is this the point where we have to leave and you continue
no.
live stream?
I was just running through chat for a second.
Okay.
So, Artie,
Yeah.
what's your favorite part about the upcoming test round?
My favorite part?
I was trying to see if I could get something to slip.
All of it. I mean, you know, the spring update was packed, and this update is also packed with a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, of course, the guild stuff is most exciting, and some of the stuff we haven't even talked about yet. I'm most interested to see what Wizard players, how they react to some of it. I mean, like I said, there's so many different aspects of guilds. Like guilds alone could, we could talk for days about different things. But that's not even counting all the other things that we have coming on in the summer update. But certainly, guilds and guild houses. I'm excited to see. I mean, I've seen a lot of people concerned about needing to have 11 people online and all these other things, and I've explained our thought process as to why we did that. So I'm curious to see how hard that is for people to get coordinated. I mean, again, it's where we've been looking at the community and talking with community members and talking with Spark and everything about the community and what makes it unique. And so we built something that we feel like is different than other MMOs, that is appropriate for the Wizard group. And one of the things we're just not sure about is how will the Wizard community be able to organize themselves? They've never really been tasked with that in game. I know you guys organize yourselves in Discord and other places, but
Very well, by the way. I mean,
yeah.
Wizard community is, here I go again with, I'm tearing up with the amazing organization of the fan sites and live streamers like White Tiger 93 and all of that. You guys, you're doing it. Well, it's like, I have never been part of a community that has been this friendly towards itself. I mean, yeah, there's always little rivalries here and there and stuff, but all that aside, the fan sites and the YouTubers and how you compliment each other and support each other and get together for things like Pride events or special events of the year, and you get in game and just everybody's there and all the fan site leaders are there and players are there and everybody else, and guilds is just one of those things to help you to get together just like that.
Yeah, speaking of rivalry, Chris and well, Hercules and I rivalry, and Wizard being the superior game and all. He has no way he can.
Wizard the better game,
back right now.
We should give him a chance to fight back here.
Oh no, I have to take every chance I get.
I can just see him sitting at his desk okay, we'll see how it goes next stream.
Yeah.
But like Spark was saying, it really is cool because a lot of games, they can live past their, their goal life set. I mean, for example, you might, from the developer standpoint, spend a few years on a game, and then you expect within 2, 3, 4 years you're going to start working on the sequel, and that kind of moves on. And that's what I think is really most interesting about Wizard101, because I mean, I've been playing, for well over 12 years. I was 7, 8 at the time, and here I am about to be 21. And I still remember saying, oh my gosh, this is Mushu, this is awesome. And from that standpoint, oh, Dragonspire, oh, Celestia, New World. And so from that standpoint, and really just seeing how the game has grown, and really just it's stayed organized. You see so many people talking about it on Twitter. You see the fan sites, live streamers, and it's overall just an interesting experience to be a part of this and to actually sit down and talk with y'all guys. It means the world to me.
No, I actually completely agree. It's a very surreal experience. So, yeah.
Any other questions, chat? We may or may not have a little surprise at the end of the stream, thanks to our good friend Spark.
Nice.
I'd like to see a live stream of the players that we've hired as employees talking about what it's like behind the curtain, or what it's like being a player and then working,
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, that could be
got a bunch.
Because we've hired several players now, and so it'd be interesting to hear what their experience is.
Well, I think that's a great point anyway. The community, we there's people in the community are motivated to come work on the game they love and played for so long. And then sometimes I wonder if the current community isn't aware of that. sometimes are concerned that we're tone deaf to their needs of the community and stuff. But we've got some really outstanding people from the community who are working in KingsIsle now, and so yeah, a round table about that would be cool.
Yeah.
Or
Y'all are
whatever.
making me blush.
Nah, it's great, man. It's great having you guys on the
Oh.
team. I mean,
Well,
you know.
yeah, that would be really cool. And that thought gave me a thought about another special thing for KI Live next week, that we have some additional team members that are going to say hello on the show. At least one that some of you in the community will recognize. I don't want to spoil it, but
Right.
it's a fun little summer event thing that we're doing at KingsIsle, and with these new team members, it's it involves past players, at least one. So there you go.
Ooh, KI Live, June 30th, I think.
Yep, that's the date. 4 o'clock Central Time. Don't be late.
Nice.
Little mixed up my time. Kind of forgot it was June. But overall, that was a very, very awesome stream to hang out with y'all guys. And I mean, really, I know it sounds vague when we kind of talk about this, and just for the past hour, because you know people can get really specific, is there going to be this and that. But I think what's really interesting about this is the vagueness is what makes it interesting. The potential with guilds is really kind of why guilds as a concept exists, is because there's so many things that can be done with this.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say one last thing because we're getting close to wrapping up. Is Genevieve is mentioning about time sensitivity and about overtasking, and I think that goes to something I had mentioned before, where traditional MMO guilds there's a heavy obligation, time obligation, and other things to serve the guild, and that's something that we're very sensitive to. And so, you know, we're trying to make experiences that are have more of a predictable time frame, so that players who love the game and want to do these things, they can plan around their busy schedule more easily than a normal MMO, where you know, maybe some sort of activity you have to wait forever to get everyone together, and then it takes forever to go do something with them, or kind of, you know, we're trying to be mindful to that, and we're mindful about that with PvP, with Beast Moon, with guilds. I mean, we're trying to be more mindful about allowing players to have more control and have the game mesh with their life versus their life having to mesh with the game. And so that's our goal. That's what we want to do. We want to make it so that if you're busy and you have family or jobs or kind of whatever, you know, you're still going to be able to experience everything that the game has to offer, even if you don't have all the time in the world to dedicate to it.
Was his life, my friend? Mouster waits on nobody. He waits on nobody.
So
He still ain't waiting. He's coming back. He came back multiple times.
Oh God, stop. We put him to rest. He's with Sylvia.
Until we get confirmation in the dev notes, Malister is with us. But overall, guys, thank you all so much for coming to this roundtable. I really do appreciate all the devs. One final round of applause to Artie, Gary, Kyle, Spark, and RatBeard. It really was a huge honor to talk with y'all guys.
It's an honor to be here.
Good times. More in the future, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Thank
always
you
fun.
so much.
And I did want to mention, as a really cool surprise, thanks to Spark, we have some stuff to give away if anybody in chat is interested in that.
Ooh, that's right. What did I give you? I forgot.
What did you give me? No, I'm kidding.
Actually,
We got, I currently have a 2.5 crowns code for 2,000 crowns. I do have a 5,000 crowns code, but you know, it's just crowns. I mean, you know, it's not much compared to the bundle that we're giving away.
bundle.
What kind of bundle? Perhaps the newest bundle that just released that I don't even know when it was supposed to release, but everybody was posting like a month in advance. So hey.
Hey, White Tiger, goodbye, everybody. Gotta head out. Thanks for hosting. It was good times. See y'all next time.
Bye, Artie.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And then there were three.
I was gonna say they're all leaving.
Okay, now we can start talking about guilds.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Oh,
You
no,
want us to leave too? Or?
All right. So, no, you're fine. Here's the aftermath conversation here. Kyle,
Hello.
what's one thing about guilds that nobody has talked about?
Oh my goodness.
You're really fishing.
I want to get one of you to crack.
All
I'll
I
fish,
can
man.
say is it's something that I'm extremely excited for. It's a feature that I actually personally love in games, and I'm just very excited.
I see. I
That's
see.
it.
Hey, Spark, what's one thing we haven't heard about from? No, I'm kidding.
From Kyle just now.
Yeah, but same question to you, Spark. And I know you guys got to be a little vague, but what's something that you're most excited for out of this?
Most excited? I am most excited about seeing on Test Realm and when Guilds goes to live realms, the very first declaration of a guild being created and shared on social media. I want to see the first one shared there. Hashtag Wizard101 guilds.
That would actually be really interesting to see some kind of like badge, like first guild member type badge. But I mean, I'm overall excited for the potential. It's really exciting because, you know, we played different things together, and from the adventure parties to now, it feels like this is one of the biggest updates that the game has had.
Certainly a singular, focus. Like guilds is a big thing, and we're definitely giving it due diligence for a good kickoff in the summer update. Speaking of what I just mentioned, by the way, we got some people in chat who are like, I'm going to be first. So, okay, well, there's your challenge, throwing down the gauntlet. I want to see a screenshot of all the guild members. So all 12, you have 12 people that are required to kick off a guild, the guild leader and 11 other guild members. And get a good screenshot lineup, declare yourselves that you've created a guild. If you're not, first, hashtag Wizard101 guilds. I want to see your guild on that hashtag when the time comes. Maybe we'll do a little giveaway or something. This is everybody a unofficial, exclusive, preemptive preparation warning, if you will, for the eventual maybe giveaway for hashtag Wizard101 guilds. There you go.
That's exactly what it sounds like when we're trying not to spoil like when Test Realm's coming. Soon TM.
I love the wording. Yeah, like Test Realm, it's here, just not now here, like
Eventually,
later here.
sometime at some point,
We are actually talking about guilds kind of early, like earlier than we normally do for stuff. So we're doing this partly because last week we announced guilds as a thing, and then we started seeing the community talking about it. And then today, obviously, we're doing the very awesome roundtable to kind of give you a little bit more meat potatoes on what that means for Wizard101. And then there'll be more stuff like next week, KI Live, we'll have possibly a teaser. We're trying to
we have
work
a
on
little
that.
bit to tease soon.
I think we got a little bit there, and then it'll be a little bit sometime after that as well. So like, you give us some time to, I know I've seen a lot of excitement in the chat here today, but it's going to be a little bit yet for Test Realm. So hang tight.
And imagine my excitement when, because that guild's announcement came out of the blue. I mean, really, like, I did not expect that. But from my perspective, when I got the message about the round table and saying, hey, would you like to, host this at this time? I was thinking, oh my gosh, I was not expecting it. That's so cool.
Well, we're always looking at guild leaders. What am I saying? See, I got guilds on my mind. Community leaders, people who have an interest in a particular topic to host for a roundtable. So if there's anybody else that is, I'm loving guilds, and say when Test Realm eventually comes up, and we have more to talk about in the months after that, then maybe we do a part 2 roundtable with another community leader. We do want to change that up. So, but it's all about the people in the community that speak up, that have a platform. You don't have to have a huge platform, but you YouTube regularly, your live stream on Twitch, you have a fan site of any level, just stuff like that, basic things, and let us know. Hey, I'd like to host this, or maybe we can do a written interview or something. But we got to know that you're interested, and preferably also which topics you're interested in, whether it's guilds or something else.
Yeah. Email community@kingsisle.com.
That's the email. Yeah.
That's the email.
So, real quick in chat, guys, for those of you who may want to be starting their own guild or are looking for guilds to join, what kind of guilds are you more interested in? Necessarily PvP content or PvE playstyle? What are some of y'all guys' interests in chat here?
I'm excited to see what most people are excited for.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Like my own history of guilds has been, let's see, I'm thinking back to like EverQuest and other games. It was really for me just helping out others where I could, and that was the nice thing about guilds in those games, because you had a more permanent platform to connect with people that you wanted to hang out with on a regular basis in the midst of the rest of the game. I wasn't isolated with just those people, but I could see like, oh, somebody needs help. Yeah, sure, I'll help you out on that. Go on the quest with you, or find the treasure, or defeat the boss, or whatever it is. And I think that's mainly my main highlight. I like guild houses too. Like I like the idea of like this is our like like when you're in college or you're in school, you kind of got that one special area of the school where you just kind of hang out with your group, and it's like, yeah, we're just chilling there. Maybe if it's a house, you have a chance to decorate it in your own special way with others, and that collaboration's very fun for me, at least.
I really like that too. I think that's probably my favorite thing out of this, really, is the idea that there is kind of like the central place that you can gather, which, up until now, it's always been the commons, and you expect to see anybody and everybody in the commons at one time or another, but with guild houses, you really get to kind of get more in depth of a relationship with your friends, or just get to learn more about people with maybe a shared interest, or just want to play the game more in general. And the fact that you can even decorate a castle, it may sound so simple, but that's like another form of like identification. It's a house that's a home kind of style, which I really like.
Yeah, and also that idea of guilds, there's another thing that I just thought of, that you see in the community fan sites and live streamers, but maybe you don't know how to create a fan site. Maybe you don't know how to create a live stream. You don't want to be on a live stream. That's not your thing, but you want to help out in some way. Maybe writing guides. That's one way of doing it, but you don't have a platform for that. How do I write a guide when, do I stick it in the official Wizard101 forums? Yeah, actually you could do that. That's a good way of, putting it in the community news section if there's no other place. But with guilds as a group, it depending on what your idea of a guild is in the game, like it's just a bunch of friends, or it could be a little more structured too. You could have a guild created for the purpose of like we were talking about in the early of this live stream roundtable, the idea of a guild around a specific school. I mean, that's perfect for that. It's like everybody who's in the guild is a fire wizard or ice wizard. Now that may not work out so well if you all want to get together and actually go, diversity is good in many ways on the game itself, but you could have that theme still as just a guild of that common interest, and trading ideas of that this is how I play a fire wizard, and this is how I play a fire wizard, and whatever else, and then you could take that a step further, and you could be the guild that's the go-to for knowledge about fire wizards. So you're not a fan site, you're not a live streamer, you're a group of recognized people in the game that positively contributes regularly to the community on a specific topic, and that topic is, you're using the guild as your brand, is I think what I'm trying to get at there, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I really love that because there are a lot of people that you can really kind of meet and have a lot of shared interests with that you may not normally expect, which is a pretty cool concept. But yeah, what'd you guys think of the stream, chat? Going pretty good. I'm not sure how long I'll stream, but I wanted to go ahead and let everybody know that if you guys wanted to stay, feel free.
Yeah, I actually got to head out.
I was about to say, I'm sorry, Spark. I remember.
Yeah, no worries at all. Was there any
5.
questions for us, or at least myself, that I could answer before I depart?
Ask away, chat. When is test run?
When is
That was the answer. Just laughing. No.
sometime this year.
Not today.
How's that?
Right, not today.
But
Not
have
today.
you actually pushed the test run button, Kyle?
Oh, we gotta get you to do that next.
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
that's right.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we have plenty of time to worry about that.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually came here around the last test room, and that was a lot. It was a lot. It was fun. But it was a lot. So I'm really excited to be around for another one. I guess that'll all go into another round table or an aisle play of like behind the scenes, like what what we had to deal with as like from a player point of view to a you know, employee behind the scenes.
Kind of an interesting question here, actually. Unfortunately, there are times of toxicity and inappropriate behavior, and I don't know if you have all the details on this, Spark, but if there were any plans for, like, let's say, guilds as a collective, maybe one specific guild kind of embracing toxicity, so to speak, what is your viewpoint on how that guild could be potentially handled, or the player that owns the guild, etc.? Because you briefly mentioned that the same code of conduct applies to the guilds.
Right. So we're gonna end on that note. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I did mention that earlier. The code of conduct for Wizard101 and KingsIsle and our community in general still stands. That is a universal blanket for everything within the game and on official channels and sites. That said, we will be adding to that a special guild specifics, guild groups and guilds, really, I think at this point, section that goes into a little bit more focus on what, you know, guilds means for the community and keeping the same ideals like being positive, contributing in a positive way, being respectful of other guilds, and all those, you know, kind of the, dare I say, common sense attributes that you would want in a group and a group that's walking by you in a world, you know. It's not, we're not going to tolerate the school atmosphere of the bully group who's going to come by and ruin your lunch and embarrass you in front of your other group of friends. That will not be tolerated. There are not going to be guilds that are themed around hate and downplaying other guilds, just like anything else in the game. As much as there's going to be people in chat are going to be like, oh, but there's still toxic stuff in the game and you're not, you know, you're not moderating everybody. We need more moderators and guild hall monitors and all that stuff. It's like, yes, we have our customer support team that does a lot of that moderation. We are always when we're in the game, we are helping out there as well, our team, and you all will have still the reporting tools that you have to warn us and let us know that there is a concern in the game, just like it is now. So guilds really doesn't change that. It's just another element to recognize. And if there's concerns you have as you start seeing guilds being created and themes around those guilds, just let us know. And we will be following our code of conduct accordingly.
Yeah, I'm looking in chat right now. I see a lot of people saying that we are censoring them. That's not at all what's happening. What's happening is of course, we don't we don't tolerate bullying. That's just how it is. That's just how it should be. And if you are being bullied in game, or if you're noticing anybody isn't being treated right, of course, you always can report that player, and yeah, and of course we really appreciate that. But that we're not censoring any guilds.
Now, how dare you say ICE is the best school? No, no,
Actually, that is correct.
no,
I'm
no,
kidding.
sir. But I think overall, I think we covered the biggest portion of that. I did see a few people did message me about toxicity being a thing, so I wanted to go and throw that out real quick. Follow-up question for Kyle.
Yeah.
So, not to put you on the spot,
Oh.
but we do know the pirate manager, whose name should not be named, his name should not be said, has created a Pirate 101 official Discord.
Ah, yes, he did.
And I believe it was potentially teased at one point by someone that there could be a Wiz equivalent.
I do I do see it in chat as well. So we're still thinking about it. I do recommend that you definitely go to all of the amazing Discords that already exist. They have a huge community. They do a lot of events, and yeah, I think it's super cool. We're still thinking about it. I know there's a lot of talk going around about it, but yeah, definitely look at the already existing Wizard101 Discords that already have a really good following.
All right. Overall, I think we pretty much covered everything. I know it's a little vague, but I know y'all guys are holding back.
Well, there's lots of stuff
Okay,
to
that's
talk
good.
about, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
do you need us? Do you need help us? Do you need our help in giving away any codes or things? Otherwise, I think we should probably gracefully exit.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go ahead and wrap up in a few minutes if y'all are ready to head out. But I really do appreciate it. We did go a little past 5, just a hair.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. So hopefully we have a chance again. I can't wait to see the continued community interactions. Stick around. We got more to talk about, and I'm going to say thank you to everybody and see you all later. And don't forget, I'll play tomorrow, right?
Our play is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That as
If
well.
you have any questions, maybe we can answer some tomorrow too, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for having us. I really appreciate it. And really great stream. Really good topic.
And then thank you for coming and thank you for inviting me, Spark. I appreciate it. It means the world.
Oh yeah, no problem. This was fun. Bye bye.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Farewell. Alright, chat, that is the main duration of the stream. No codes? No. We don't say no codes. We don't say no codes. We say codes, yes codes. That's what we say. And I want to thank you guys so much real quick. And I wanted to bring this up, but I knew the second I would, it would be a little bit of a risky topic to mention. But I want to appreciate... I mean, lately it, of course, has been a lot of toxicity in various game communities, but specifically for this stream, there was a little bit that we had to deal with, unfortunately, but I do want to say I really do appreciate that the entire stream was not people begging for codes, or the entire stream was not people being toxic or spamming about this, that, change this, or, you know, anything like that. I really do appreciate that so much. It means a lot to me that this was an overall positive stream, and I'm excited for guilds. And I do want to say, guys, because the number one question that I was seeing in chat, can you do this, that, can you do this, there was so much specific, and I know that as a player it can get frustrating to hear this response, but I kid you not, I went through, because people were messaging me on Twitter, I went through all the replies on tweets, I went through my private messages, I went to the forums, I went to various other YouTube channels. I've went across trying to get as much feedback that people were talking about guilds as possible. And we got a list. Some of it was specific, some of it was summarized, because there was a lot of feedback, and KingsIsle got it. I've sent that to KingsIsle, so... I know it seems like a generic response that everybody gets, but I know it's a generic response, but I kid you not, guys, they see the feedback, even if they didn't answer in chat. I do know that there is stuff that they are holding back, and I think y'all guys are going to be very excited. But overall, it was a lot of fun. Huge shout out to the KingsIsle team. Sorry you feel that way, Adam. Fantastic stream. Thank you. So stream, you loved it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Seems like overall it was very positive. Seems like you guys really enjoyed it. I can summarize the stream real quick as we continue to wrap up. So, what we discussed before is that it is not censorship by any means. It is a combat against toxicity and just general harassment. But overall, I have to say that this was a very fun stream. Just taking a step back, we saw that for guilds, the max guild is 50 players. You need at least 12 players to come together to start a guild, and then from that point, there will be a level of guild ownership, but as of right now, there is not a tier ranking system. There's not some kind of hierarchy where someone is above anybody else. As of right now, that potential is there, but it's not going to be in this update for sure. And so, as we talked about, guys, overall it's supposed to be just a very fun way to get into another level of just organizing with other players without it being forced. It shouldn't be like, oh, I need to get together with these group of people. No, it's, hey, you know, try out a guild, see if you like it. You might meet some new people, you might find people of your own interest, and trust me when I say they're going from the ground up. They are going from the ground up. There is a lot more coming because there are multiple updates for this, and it's very general. And even as far back as the adventure parties and the social initiative from a year ago, even from then, they've been building up on working on the guilds update. So a lot of potential there. So we know 50 players is the max for a guild. You have to have 12 players to get together to start it. And from that point, you can get a guild house, which as of right now, there is one guild house that will be available for testing in Test Realm. But the potential of multiple guild houses is there in the future. We do know that the houses are going to have a shared inventory that you can donate your furniture, you can decorate it, and if somebody tries to delete it, there is the inventory for a trash can. So if you try to delete something, players can go and they can claim it back for themselves if they don't want that item to be permanently deleted. And so overall, it's going to be a lot of fun, and then of course it is per account. So if you join a guild, you can get off your wizard, you can go to one of your other wizards on the account, and then you can hop right back in. So it's not just a one wizard perspective type thing. It's account wide. And so I know there was a lot of stuff people were wanting to see, and I can't say too much. But I do know that there is more exciting stuff. And I'm sorry if that sounds generic, but we got I'll Play tomorrow, which might be at 4 p.m. Central. Let me double check that. KI Live is also June 30th at 4 p.m. Central Time. And huge shout out to all the devs, of course, but one thing that I do want to mention is that Spark and Kyle, originally we agreed to wrap up the dev portion of the stream at 5, so it was cool that they were able to hang out for a while longer and add more to that. But overall, it's a lot of fun talking with the devs. But, so yeah, is there a code? Is there a code? This time around, it is not going to be a multi-redeemable code. It is for one person only, and unfortunately I do have to do this on Twitter only. So for Twitter, if you have a Twitter account, I'm going to be tweeting after the stream with some stuff to give away. We have a couple of codes for a 2.5 Crown K code and then a 5K Crown code, and then of course we have the new bundle to give away. The Pepper Grass Glen bundle that just released just within the last couple weeks. It is it's here as a code. We can give that away, so huge shout out to Spark. And yeah, I think overall we covered everything we needed to. I'll hang around chat just for a second, but is there any other comments, questions, concerns y'all guys want to put in chat before I wrap up the stream? please let me know. Let's see here. Let's see here. The reason why is because it's going to be introed into a drawing. So we're going to have a roll for it. Give me 1 second here. Alright. Will we have to manually enter the guild with each wizard on our account? From what they've said, no. From that point, once you're a part of the guild, you can get off and you can access that guild. Because I said, supposedly there's going to be a type of button that will allow you to teleport to the guild. In that sense, there's like a group of wizards right here in front of me taking up the screen page, but that's fine. Shout out to y'all guys. But yeah, we did 100+ redeems for a last roundtable as well. But no, this is going to be a bundle and 2 crown code giveaway. Which is actually the crazy thing. I'm really not that big of a YouTube channel. It blows my mind that I was able to host this roundtable, and it means a lot to me that you guys were able to join. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, and guys, there's been a lot of roundtables in the past. We had Gladrocker, we had Blake PvP. I've done a couple before in the past, and going forward, guys, they have mentioned that they do want to do more roundtables. And I am fairly confident that the next roundtable would involve some other people in the community, aside from myself, which is, I think, really cool that KingsIsle is really just working a lot with other community members. It means a lot to me, it really does. And yeah. So, alright. So my Twitter is linked down in the description down below. And feel free to go check that out. I'm going to be tweeting out the giveaway in a minute. I also do need to finish the description as well. I did not get that finished. And if y'all guys want to see KingsIsle's original announcement on the guilds, that's also in the description as well. So if you guys want to go check out straight from them. And yeah. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. It's such a big thing too, because I know we were being vague, because I know how specific the questions got, and it may be vague, but I'm telling y'all guys, I'm really excited for this. And so, I really appreciate it. I hope y'all guys have a wonderful day. It's been a lot of fun, and yeah, we were gonna wrap the stream up an hour ago, but we hanged a little bit over time, which is completely fine. But yeah, so once again, I know I'm a little repetitive here, but multitasking. It is kind of important being vague, because really when you think about it, when you're vague, you don't know what to expect. It builds up that interest and hype, which is really cool, because the potential is right there at it. But I want to thank you guys so much. It really does mean a lot to me. Like I said, giveaway on Twitter will be announced right after this. And yeah, so thank you guys so much, and I will see y'all guys next time. Have a wonderful day, y'all. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. So I usually tend to leave the stream going for a minute so I can go focus on something else real quick, and I kind of, let the stream end on its own, if that makes any sort of sense, and I come back to it like a few minutes later. But I just want to say, if for all of y'all guys that are still here, thank you. I really appreciate it. But yeah, this really is the wrap up of the stream here, so thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I hope to see some of y'all guys around the channel in the future, and just thank you guys so much. The stream will be saved on YouTube, so if you guys need to go back and watch it, it will be right here. But once again, thank y'all guys. I don't mean to sound repetitive, but it really does mean the world to me that, I'm not a big YouTube channel, and I'm not really trying to be honest. But if I can go and just hang out with a few people and just play the game for a little bit, and especially get a chance to, talk with the devs all at the same time, it's truly an incredible experience. But for one final time, guys, I do want to do a little bit of a kind of a news announcement thing. So just real quick before we wrap up, I do have a Wizard101 podcast that I'm kind of working a little bit on that will be releasing sometime next month. It's going to be very casual, just kind of very talking sort of style. It's very simple, but I do have a podcast style series planned that will be coming out sometime next month. And yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Have a good one. No, I should really specify that the podcast will be on my YouTube channel, and it's also going to be on a site as well. If you guys are familiar with the Visions of the Spiral and Around the Spiral website, that is overall the project that we are going for. So that will also be over there as well, and here on my channel. But thank you guys for the support, and okay, I'll wrap the stream up this last time. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. Guilds, the G word.